I will get rid of LTNs because I have seen the damage they have caused.
Hello, welcome to LCDC TV. It's Saturday, it's May the 1st, and we're here in Islington, outside the town hall. We're going to be listening to the May Day protest about the LTNs in Islington. As you know, as cab drivers, it's having a massive detrimental impact on our earnings and the future of the cab trade in London. They'll be here today, Laurence, Farah, London, David, Curtin. Hopefully we'll grab them and have a chat. I hope you really enjoy it. Thank you.
Taxi!
Okay, we've got another guest speaker now, Mr. David Curtin.
Thank you, everybody. It's so lovely to be back in Islington again. Really good to see you all again. I remember coming here last year in November at one of the first demonstrations you had against the low traffic neighbourhoods, which are not low traffic neighbourhoods. They're actually high traffic neighbourhoods because they cause more traffic and they cause more congestion and they cause more pollution than when they were first started and put in. And I'm against the pop-up bicycle lanes and the planters and the curbside street space barriers that Sadiq Khan is putting in all over London on TfL roads. And I promise you as mayor, I will get rid of them all. But I'm not going to promise to do that on day one, because what the mayor is in charge of is the TfL roads. So what I can promise you is that anything that is on a TfL road, that is a blockage, that is a road narrowing space, I will work to get rid of those blockages from day one. When it comes to the low traffic neighbourhoods that are being implemented by the boroughs, I want you to know that I'm totally against them, heart and soul, because they are stopping local people from being able to drive their cars around, and they have to go far, far longer, and the journey times are doubled and tripled, and they need to be got rid of as soon as we possibly can. But you've got all the different levels of government are working together to put them in. So the money and the drive to put them in is coming from Boris Johnson and Grant Shapps in Westminster. And they've allocated £250 million around the country to put in low traffic neighbourhoods and these kind of schemes, which narrow roads. And in London, £80 million has gone to the mayor out of the national budget to do this, and then the mayor gives the money to the local boroughs, whether they're Labour or Conservative, and then they implement them on the local level. What I can promise you is that as Mayor of London, I will not allocate any new money for any new LTN, so the situation won't get worse. But we have to get rid of them smartly, because what's happened, and I hate this, is that they've all been put in under emergency regulation due to the Coronavirus Act. And that is a device that the Johnson government, with the full support of Labour MPs, has put in and extended, and they're probably going to extend it again in September. And the emergency regulation, as they can do, is they can put in these schemes which the people don't want without having a proper consultation. And that is absolutely wrong, and it's undemocratic, and I totally stand against it, and I want no part of it. Woo!
We're here at the Islington Town Hall protest regarding LTNs, and we have the Heritage Party, David Curtin, mayoral candidate. He's here today just delivered a very powerful speech. David, tell us, why are you here today and what's your message?
Yeah, I'm here today because I'm against all of these road blockages that have been put in, which are crazy, and they're changing London and transforming London, which doesn't need to be changed and transformed. I mean, we've got roads, and this is not going to be like Amsterdam, you know, ever with like, it's not going to be a cycling paradise. The roads are sort of narrow because some places, because they're 18th, 19th century roads, but narrowing them just to put in cycle lanes and reducing road space for vehicles is madness. Putting in planters and blockages in these so-called low traffic neighbourhoods is also madness, and it's stopping people from getting into their neighbourhoods, it's stopping business vehicles from getting in, doing business, it's stopping emergency vehicles from getting in, which is actually a danger to life. If ambulances, fire engines and police vehicles cannot attend an emergency because there's a big blockage in the way. So we need to change this and get some common sense back into things.
And it's having a real negative effect on people's lives and their standard of living, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, I've been around London a lot in the last couple of weeks talking to people in lots of different boroughs, and people just say, we now need to take 2 or 3 times longer for a journey, than we did before. A journey that took us 10 minutes before is now taking us half an hour or 40 minutes. So it's not actually making less traffic. These things are creating more traffic. So they don't work. They're a blight on people's lives, and we've got to get rid of them.
I love what you said. You said they're not low traffic neighbourhoods, they're high traffic neighbourhoods, isn't it? I mean, and for us as cab drivers, the roads are our office. That's where we work. From the moment we start the knowledge, it's roads, roads and roads. So in effect, Sadiq Khan, he's evicting us from our workplace. It's no good. It's no good.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, Sadiq Khan has done so many things which have been bad for the taxi trade. Reducing the licence age limit, putting in blockages on Bishopsgate and things like that. We just need to return to normal, and we need to get a mayor in that will stop hammering the taxi trade.
And are you the man? And you're the man.
Mayor for the Heritage Party.
Lovely. David, it's a bit loud in the background, but thank you for your time. Much appreciated. Good luck.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Martin, we had a great interview a couple of weeks ago, and we discussed today off camera. What are you making of today? Great turnout?
I think, the turnout is fantastic, and, everyone here is incredibly passionate. I've got to say, what I like about this, it's like an old-fashioned public meeting. Everyone is arguing, debating the issues. The people are really passionate, political.
It's called democracy, isn't it? Everyone's having a go. Everyone's free speech.
Absolutely. And it's the first time I've seen this in a long, long time. And I think this is such a brilliant sort of evidence of how people are really feeling about politics. And it feels to me that change is upon us. And I think it's a great example of what's happening all across the country, actually. Perhaps in a private sphere, but definitely like this. And I think we'll get to see more of this as the years to come.
Hopefully this is a catalyst all over London for people who feel their voice doesn't matter, to actually realise that it's people power.
Absolutely. I think that, this year's by-elections are definitely a forerunner of next year. So when we talk about next year's council election, I'm pretty sure we're going to see many more independents like me standing forward, sticking their neck out and trying something new. So, again, this to me is like the start of something really interesting to do.
Martin, thanks for your time. Lovely to see you again.
All right, thank you.
Every one of you here today have gone through significant changes in your life. I know that. And yet now you have people who don't even know you. In fact, people who don't even have a relationship with London tell you what you should and shouldn't like. That is shameful. Now, quite often I respond to these people by saying that it's not change so much that I don't like, but what I cannot stand, and I can't emphasize this enough, but what I cannot stand is change that ushers in social injustice. That's what I cannot stand. I cannot stand change that disregards the needs of the most vulnerable in the community. I cannot stand change that dismisses the elderly, the frail, the wheelchair dependent, those with sensory issues, and those people who carry out their daily duties, such as Alison Prince, who's a carer, and the lady at the back whose son is living with autism. That is the kind of change that I cannot stand. I cannot stand inequity. I cannot stand discrimination against people who live, work, play, go to school and suffer pollution on residential main roads. That's what I cannot stand. I cannot stand local businesses who, when they show their concerns, are treated like they are merely collateral damage. That's what I cannot stand. But I tell you something, what overrides all of that, and let's get really, really serious here, because what overrides all of that is politicians and bureaucrats that think it's okay to perpetuate policies that divide our communities more than ever. That is what I cannot stand, because that is what they have done. They have picked up local people, they have turned them upside down and smashed them on their heads, and that to me is a socially unjust abomination. Yes! What we have now is a tale of two cities, between the haves and the have-nots. We most certainly have a tale of two Islingtons, but not only that, we have a tale of two Ealings, of two Chiswicks, of two Lewishams, of two Lamberts, of two Greenwiches, of two Tower Hamlets, of two Camdens, of two Enfields, and most certainly a tale of two Hackneys. Yes! We have a tale of two Londons that is divided by social injustice, and that is a disgrace! There is, however, a glimmer of hope. On May the 6th, there is a mayoral election and there is a number of local by-elections. And what we need to do, as a collective, what we need to do is consolidate and maximise our voting potential. That's what we need to do. Because only by optimising our vote do we get rid of the fascist utopia that resides in that town hall and in town halls across London. That is what we need to do. So, on May the 6th, we need to come together as a collective, and this time next year, at the actual local elections, we need to vote collectively, and maybe then we can throw this lot out amongst the rubbish that they are not collecting on a weekly basis.
Laurence Fox, you're here. Why are you here, Laurence?
I'm here because LTNs are destroying lives for the most vulnerable and needy in London, and London is turned into a massive traffic jam.
And if people voted for Laurence Fox, you're going to stop them, you're going to bring more in, what are you going to do?
I'm going to hire a fleet of forklift trucks to remove every single one, and then I'm going to get rid of all the cameras too.
And is that a promise?
That's 100% promise, cross my heart and hope to God.
Lovely. Thanks, Laurence.
I will get rid of LTNs because I have seen the damage they have caused. I have been to the communities, I have seen the divide, the emergency services, the disabled, the elderly which are suffering. So no, it's not about suspending, it's about getting rid of the LTNs. Listen to people, and everyone is having the same problems. And this is why we're here today united, because we all agree on one thing, that Sadiq Khan needs to go.
Carnage!
But guess what? The solution is not by putting another politician there, because I tell you something, the Conservatives, all they're going to do is suspend, and that's the word that they use, but they're not going to get rid of it. We need an independent mayor that actually represents us, the people, that stands for the people and listens to the people and not a political agenda. Because I tell you something, watching all of these LTNs, there is a political agenda. Now something Adise didn't say, but in Enfield, in less than 3 months, they made £1.8 million on fines. Now I've heard in other boroughs they're making millions there as well. So this has to stop, and we need a mayor with leadership that is going to fight with us. Now the people, they fought back in Harrow, and guess what? they've been removed. So if we continue to stick together and fight the corruption of the mafia-led councils, and that's what they are, mafia-led councils, that they seem to forget that we put them there and they should be representing us, the people, but no, they're representing themselves, and it's about time there is accountability, and we send them a message that they are no longer in charge, there's accountability, and we will hold them accountable. So I urge you, on the 6th of May, vote independent, because that's the only way your voice is going to be heard. It's time to send a message to the Reds and Blues. We will not take it anymore. We are the people, and we are taking back control. Thank you.